Hello, everyone. This is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for a couple years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to go into what we are shipping out today on Monday. So the weekend was actually pretty bad. I would say like 40% less sales than we normally get. I think numbers are kind of boring for most people. They just want to hear about the items and stuff like that. But I just want to mention it was a very weak weekend. Not unsurvivable, but yeah, like I said, like about 40% less. All right, so the first thing is this Rock Island right here, this little model train caboose right here. I don't know too much about trains, but this particular one has like metal bits and pieces. Like I can tell it's good quality. We got this from Storage Unit Flippers. We do love selling trains and die-cast cars. I'm still not an expert, but I know people love this stuff, and we've been selling a lot of it. So this sold for $17 plus shipping. All right, moving along, we have a board game by Mayfair Games, which is kind of important. This game is called Power Lunch right here. I think I demoed this game so many years ago. I don't. This says it's from 1994. I didn't demo it in 1994, but at the Gen Con convention where you play a bunch of board games, Mayfair Games does Settlers of Catan. The cat's wanting attention over here. Settlers of Catan. That's their main game. And in order to get people to try out their other games like this one, they had a huge library of games. At the convention, if you demoed other stuff, you get these little ribbons. If you collected all of like the materials for the Catan board game, you could turn it in. There would be a raffle at the end of the convention where you can win like special editions of the Settlers of Catan, like really expensive one. Oh wow, we actually get my cat in the video. They're normally like jumping around, they just never get into view. She just really wants our attention because we were hanging out with Annette's parents yesterday, so we were gone all day. So she's like my little magnet. All right, this sold for $7.58. That's not a lot for this particular game, but people do want to collect the whole Mayfair Games library. I'm assuming that's why someone grabbed it. All right. Next up, we have, let's see. Oh, these are cool playing cards right here. These are going to be Black Panther playing cards. My cat's being ridiculous right here. These are used but in really good condition. I actually listed these recently. These ended up selling for $12.69. All right, next up is going to be a Beast Wars Incomplete Little Monster Kit right here. Yeah, this one is missing like pieces. It still has like the missile right here. It still has like the character inside here. I was never into Beast Wars, or sorry, Transformers. It was kind of like a couple years before me. I was into like X-Men and Spider-Man and stuff from the 90s. I don't think my brothers were into Beast Wars. That's just what this particular like Transformer is. So yeah, I don't know what else is broken about this. This looks pretty good. We got a bunch of these a long time ago. They were like incomplete stuff. This ended up selling for $26.24. I had a lot of questions on this, and I was being honest to people like, I don't know would be some of my answers, or like I can take more pictures. My cat's meowing. She doesn't like to be pulled off the table when she wants attention. She's okay though. All right. Next up is going to be a miniature book right here. Xenoshift Onslaught Source Book. It's a hardcover book. This is going to be for some kind of, I want to say, miniature game. It looks like it's by Cool Mini or not, which says miniature board games kind of honestly at this point. This sold for $30, which is really good for these like game books and RPG books. Normally, I don't get that much. So this person bought this without an offer, I think. So that's pretty cool. I got lucky with this one because next up, you'll see like what I normally get for like RPG books and stuff like that. At least the ones that I source. We got this one right here, In Search of the Troll Slayer. Just like a basic adventure. It looks pretty cool. Not like the craziest like art or detail, but people love just picking up adventure books, running them through with their players, or they're going to study it just because they want to make their own dungeon. There's like these like turtles with like flails and rocks and stuff like that. This sold to a repeat buyer for $8.20. So they must have picked up RPG books from us before. All right, moving along, we have some incomplete Atlantic miniatures right here. These are, what are these ones even? I'm not too sure right here. I'll just show the picture real quick. Is this like a German officer or something? But these are going to be incomplete, so not all the pieces are going to be in there. This actually looks like it's in a different language. Oh, it's an artillery. Artillery, there you go. This sold for $21, so even incomplete, people will still want like the individual infantry. Maybe they want to mod something, or maybe they don't care about the pieces that are missing. All right, moving along, we sold some more playing cards. I'm not too sure why playing cards have been popular. Maybe, I don't know, sometimes like when I sell a bunch of one type of thing, something's going on that I'm not aware of, so I'm always just thinking of it. So American Airlines, these are pretty cool. Maybe something happened with American Airlines. These are like probably decks of cards that they would give out back in the day if you took their plane, I'm assuming. 2 of these are sealed, one's open. These sold for $9. I didn't price these for super crazy amounts. I do like branded stuff for the playing cards. I just like selling them. I haven't sold too many on the channel in a little bit, but I have like a good amount listed. I just haven't found many recently. All right, moving along, we have a Pusheen. What is this one? Exclusive bookmark. So there's like the Pusheen cat with the moon. I can't tell what other ones are behind this. Just like it is kind of see-through, but I can't tell. I think Annetta got these a couple of Pusheen boxes a long time ago, and then we happened to find them at her parents, and then Annetta let me know which ones, like the stuff in those grab bag boxes she did not want. This sold for $6.75. I don't think she gets those boxes anymore. But she did say that a fun fact about the Pusheen company is it's actually not a Japanese company. I think it's in Park Ridge. There you go. So it's actually a company from what did you say? Illinois. It's actually from Illinois. So like it's interesting. I thought that was like Japanese products and stuff like that. It is not. They just have the branding where people think it is. All right, moving along, we have some miniatures right here. I got these a long time ago. War, Age of Imperialism, Eagle Games miniatures. I thought these would sell for like more, I guess. Like they're pretty cool. These are still, this is basically new open box. They're still in the sprues, like right here. Yeah, it's just a bunch of like infantry. There's ships. There's different colors. There's blue, red, green, black, different types of miniatures. It almost looks like it was like a sample box. Let me see if it says anything on the back. If not, I'll move on. Move along. We got, yeah, I'll just let you see right here. If you can take a look real quick, and you can pause it if you want. But I'm going to go ahead and move on. All right. Oh, sorry. Those sold for $12. Like, we sold this incomplete thing that's, I guess, more vintage and older for more. That's just the way it goes, I guess. All right, moving along, we have two. Are these not RPG books? Are these mangas? I think the Slayers, Bassam Slayers. So this one just says Slayers. I think that's part 1, and then book part 2, I think, is book 3 right here is Try. Yeah, Try. Sorry. I don't know anything about this one. We sold this one, these two, for $21.60. So we're missing number 2 in that, but I'll still lot up like part 1 and part 3 together. I could have done them separate. I did not. All right, next up is going to be some board game bits and pieces. Orleans, I've heard a lot of good stuff about this game. It doesn't really have like the art style that is aesthetic to me. I think it's going to be a worker placement. I don't think Annetta likes worker placements. I do play a lot of board games solo at times. A worker placement, I haven't really dipped my toes into that. All right, so the first thing is going to be these bits and pieces just right here. I had these in one baggie, and later on in the day, I found a bunch more like civilians, knights, farmers. Like I said, I haven't played this game. I just know a lot of people like it. I think they even have different editions and versions. These two together were for $10 for just like some board game bits and pieces. When I saw them, I had an idea what I thought it was, but I had to like do a Google reverse to figure out like what board game I went to. 15 total? It's showing me $10 right here. So plus $5.50 for shipping. I mean, we could look at it later. Like the app is actually showing me different stuff, and they've like updated eBay and stuff, so like it looks differently. But yeah, I'll move on. All right, next up we have a lot of 50 plus Warhammer 48 bits and pieces. Let me make sure I grab the right one. These are Astartes, I believe that faction, if I'm saying that right. Right here, we got a bunch of these. These are getting pretty low just because we keep selling them. These sold for $14.05. So good still, those bits and pieces. If you guys are probably like tired of hearing about them, I knew they were going to be good, but like not that good. All right, next up is going to be a lot of 5 Hordes and War Machine. This is the fantasy version. I'll take out actually 1 or 2 of these. These are called Skinwalkers, Warp-born Skinwalkers. This is a unit. Let's make sure that I don't break this. You know what? I don't actually want to take them out right now. I just want to make sure that these are already built. I just don't want to like, the axes and arms are kind of like interwoven into each other, so I just don't want to like pop one out. But yeah, these are the faction that is nature, werewolves, wind, elemental, ice, stuff like that. Trees, like treants, like think Lord of the Rings. This sold for $14.99, which is pretty good for the built ones. I thought the pre-built War Machine and Horde stuff that I got at the auction would sell a little bit faster. Maybe I'm pricing them too high. They still are selling, just not as fast. All right, next up right here is Cosmic Encounter by Avalon Hill. I believe this is going to be one of their, I don't want to say first edition, but like I'm aware of like the newer editions. This is a game that I did play the newer edition. I did not like it. A lot of people love the game. I'm aware a lot of people love the game. It kind of embraces chaos. Everyone gets to pick. The point of the game is everyone's an alien race. Everyone has unique powers. So there's not really like a true balance, which doesn't bother me. I don't care about games not having balance. And then you can always buy expansion packs and get different alien races. And I think you're trying to take over planets, or there's like some kind of like victory point system. Like I said, I played one time a long time ago, new edition. This is the old edition. This is incomplete. This sold for only $8.10. So yeah, there wasn't too many bits and pieces in here. I got a lot of like incomplete board games a long time ago before we were recording on the channel. But yeah, like I said, only $8.10. A lot of the price of this is just the person for shipping. That's still cool that someone's going to appreciate it. Like I said, this is an older edition. I thought it would be worth more. It looks pretty cool. All right, moving along, we have a lot of 101. These are Legion sleeves. The Macbeth by the Plucking little poem / book. I can't remember exactly what. The Legion sleeves is Legion is a company that made a lot of sleeves. They did this like, I want to say like a double matte sleeve. I want to say they were almost first to the market, or at least first popular one, where like the front has this like smooth matte feeling to it. The back is also like more of a matte. So it's like if you put a shiny card, it kind of like doesn't reflect as much. Or if you put like a non-shiny card in there, like a regular one, it makes it look like the contrast is nicer. These I know don't exist anymore. I think the company does not exist anymore. I think the person who owned Legion, they just kind of did sleeves as kind of like a side project, and then they end up dropping and worked on like whatever job they had. I looked into this a long time ago, but whenever I find Legion sleeves, I know all of like the SKUs in my head, and I know people will pay for that. Like this is 101 of them. They were barely slightly used. 100 is enough for a commander deck. 101 means if one rips, they get to still replace it. This sold for $10.50 for used sleeves. Is pretty good. All right. Next up is going to be another card from the Dark Age Feudal Lords. Feudal Lords, is that it? Yeah, Feudal Lords card game. So that this right here is a rare. This card's called Red right here. So there's the front. Dark Age, I think, also has a RPG, maybe even miniatures by Cool Mini or not. I'm not sure where they're at right now. This ended up selling for $11.24. I got a bunch of dead card game stuff for $11 at the auction. That was probably my second best purchase. I think long term, the cards will net me more like money than the Warhammer 40k bits and pieces, but those two particular auctions were my best ones. At least right now. $11.24 is this one for. This card game, when I looked it up, only had this particular set. I think there was another set or two that were slated to be like printed, and then they never did it. Whatever, the company went bankrupt, who knows? And I think there might be some promos and stuff. I'm not 100% sure on the promos because I looked into that when I was listing them. All right, next up is another Warhammer 40k bits and pieces. These are Necrons. Necrons, I think, are like the undead robots. This ended up selling for $18.74, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I guess people like the undead skeleton robots, Terminator style stuff. I've never played Warhammer 40k, but I'm just like being around all the nerd stuff my whole life. It's there. It's always in the stores and stuff like that. So, I mean, I've looked at the Necrons. I'm like, oh, those guys look cool, I guess. All right, next up is going to be something I also know a good amount about. A good amount. I don't know at this point, but these are 3 promos. Bless you. Kitties are being a lot of fun right now. All right. 3 Force of Will promo cards. These are going to be foil ones. These are going to be pretty cool for someone because let me double check for all of them. This one's like Halloween themed. This one's like a night themed. I did play this game for when it came to America quickly. I think it's still around, so I'm just going to show you these as I keep talking. Hopefully you can see it. These end up selling for $39, $40 and some change for these 3, which is pretty cool. I have more promos of each of these, so I already relisted one of each of these. It was a game that came out when Magic was not really as popular, and a lot of the abilities on these particular Force of Will cards, not these ones that I sold, but like the cards at the time, the sets that came here to America, were trying to mimic like a kind of like a slightly faster paced Magic the Gathering. In Magic the Gathering, you have all your cards in one deck, and you have lands, which is how you play the lands, and it has a pacing to the game, which you can cast monsters and spells. Force of Will had a separate, I can't think of the name. I want to call them a rune deck. It's eluding me right now, but you would have your creatures and stuff in one deck, and then you would be able to choose if you draw from your mana deck or like the rock deck. Like I said, I can't remember the particular name, and that was what was different. And then they kind of did more of a like an anime style arts. Not all the cards. They kind of did like some sets where it was like Merlin and fantasy or like anime like this. So that was kind of like their angle. But they didn't have enough product when the game was super popular. They just didn't have enough like boxes and starter decks for people to purchase. And at the time, the starter decks were like an older version of the game from Japan that came here and then like it translated. So they had like older starter decks, kind of like mid of the game product, like from middle of the time, if that makes sense. There's a lot of card games in Japan that come here way more than America. And then sometimes they don't like translate all the stuff when they first land here. Like it's a whole nother world. I'm kind of probably just rambling at this point. Probably lost some people. All right, next up is going to be, I have to actually grab that in the other room in a moment. It's going to be a little CD for accounting, I guess. There's no manual or anything. We'll see if this ends up being a return. Some of these kind of things kind of always make me uncomfortable, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, it's just like this. It's labeled Peachtree Accounting Release 8.0. It's like a CD. The CD is still sealed, but there's like no manual box. So I don't know. Maybe they just needed another CD, or maybe they thought it was going to come with everything. We'll find out. I don't know anything about that one. It's just when you get a bunch of bulk stuff, like games and stuff like that, you get other stuff as well. All right, next up is Forest and French Sea Power right here, 1660 to 1789. Hardcover book. Looks like, I think a library had this at one point. Not too sure. There's not too many marks and stuff on it, so it's still readable. This sold for $11.24, so that's pretty cool. All right, and then next up is going to be a damaged little train right here. This one's Cheapsake and Ohio right there. I think what's damaged on this? Oh yeah, it's missing the little clip right here. So yeah, I got a bunch of these trains that I found recently. This ended up selling for $7. Nothing too crazy, but we got a bunch of the trains and cars, and it's pretty cool. All right, and then next up is going to be right here a vintage ceramic police car from 1995, made in Philippines right here. It's just like a little ceramic, like a desk decor or something like that. There's the 1995 on the top, or someone labeled it like that, made it in Philippines. Ended up selling for $10.12. That was where I got all like the trains and stuff like that. All right, and then the last thing is Three's Company season 7 right here. I actually, yeah, 7. Okay, cool. I was like, did I write season 4? I put season 7 4-disc DVD set. I actually watched this show a bunch when I was a kid. This just happened to be on Nick at Night and stuff like that. There was like also Cheers I watched, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. There's probably other ones I can't think of. I mean, there was a ton that I watched back in the day. So I do remember this one. This is, I don't know if this is the last season. I don't have too many memories of the TV show. I haven't watched TV too much in a long time, other than like Goosebumps with Annetta. This sold for $13.50. So yeah, the weekend was pretty rough overall. I know some of these numbers are still pretty good. I'm still appreciative of all the stuff that we got. But like compared to like other weekends, we would hit like almost $1,000. This is like 40% less than that. Also, I was just going to let you know some stuff that Annette and I are going to be looking forward to. So we like to play video games and board games. I'm looking forward to the all-in of the Chip Theory games. They have an Elder Scrolls game. I'm super excited about it. I also want to do an unboxing. I have like another experimental like video game board game channel. I don't know if I'm like share it right here right now. It just has a bunch of experimental stuff. So like I don't know if you guys want to actually see me doing an unboxing on this channel. Let me know in the comments. I'll just like open up and talk about like the components and what I appreciate about the game. So I'm looking forward to playing that with Annetta. I'm the one that usually reads the rules, and then we'll jump into it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And then for video games, Annetta searched out some. There's 2. I wrote them down. A company called Hazelight. They are coming out with a game called Split Fiction. I think she talked to me about this a couple weeks ago when I was sleepy, so I can't picture what the game's about, but the Hazelight company, we've played some other games. I think they did like It Takes Two, some cool co-op video games. And then there's another game where you're playing mice, like A Witch is Familiar or something. It's called Hella. That game is also coming out, if we're still alive at that time, because this stuff's coming out in like March or February, I think. So yeah, that's stuff we're looking forward to. All right, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to help support us and the cats, I guess, take a look at the shop down below. Have a good one.